At the outset, let me say, as I did before, that you have been found unanimously well qualified by the American Bar Association after they have asked members of the bar and elected officials as well about your performance throughout the course of your life, and particularly as U.S. Attorney. With unanimous consent, I'm going to enter into a record letter which we received from the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association, in which they say of your nomination, at every turn throughout his nearly 20 years serving the Western District of Tennessee, community leaders and law enforcement leaders who know Mr. Ritz have come away deeply impressed at how thorough and principled Mr. Ritz has shown himself to be time and again. You've heard some of the charges that have been made by Senator Blackburn. Would you like to respond?
Yes, Senator. A couple of things. First, I want to say, before I say anything else, how deeply saddened I was to hear about the death of Officer Joseph McKinney Friday morning in Memphis. That happened 15 minutes from where I live, and it has saddened our community immensely. I reached out to Chief Davis and the mayor on Friday to say that they had my condolences and support. Officer McKinney, I mourn for his family because he kept my family safe. That's why there's no higher priority for us than tackling gun violence and violent crime in Memphis. There was a reference to a third-hand communication allegation that was made, I think it was 16 years ago. That was an allegation that was looked at by a court, and there was no finding of any unethical conduct. I have had a career, Senator, of clean, ethical record, and would issue an open invitation to anyone to speak with judges, opposing counsel, and anyone that I've worked with in West Tennessee.
Could you comment in general terms about the fact that in public service there are usually critics, some of us even find them for senators. What has been your approach to that in the past?
Senator, I appreciate the question. You know, until 19 months ago when I became United States attorney, I was a worker bee. I was an assistant U.S. attorney and did not face the public as I do now as United States attorney. I can assure all of you who do face the public, it's been a learning curve for a former appellate lawyer to learn how to address tough questions. We don't shy away from them in the U.S. Attorney's Office in my current role. I'm proud of the work that we've done, and I've made an intentional effort to make myself and my team available to community members, to the press, and to partners all throughout the 22 counties of our district. And as I say, I'm proud of the work that we're doing.
Mr. Ritz, I see from 2011 to 2014 you represented the government in United States versus Castleman.
That's right.
That case involved the question of whether someone convicted of a crime of domestic violence could possess a firearm under federal law. Eventually, the case made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and a unanimous court sided with you and the government. Can you tell us about your role in that litigation?
Certainly, Senator. As you say, that was a case that came out of West Tennessee, and I got involved when it was at the Sixth Circuit level. Really important case about the federal law that prohibits people from possessing firearms if they have a prior domestic violence conviction. So it's of course a very important tool and has been an important tool for federal prosecutors in our district and elsewhere to keep firearms out of the hands of domestic abusers. I got involved in the Sixth Circuit litigation, wrote a brief and en banc pleadings at the Sixth Circuit. It did end up going to the Supreme Court, and I worked very closely with the Solicitor General's office and was invited, because I had worked so closely with them, to sit at counsel table at the Supreme Court argument. I think it was 2014.
Was that the only case you've had involved in before the Supreme Court?
It was, and I want to be clear, I was not the person, arguing the case, but I was at counsel table that day.
Thank you.